CENTER Maine presents Agree to Disagree with Phil Harriman and Ethan Strimling, an ongoing podcast on Maine politics. Phil, a Republican, and Ethan, a Democrat, are two of Maine's most well-known and respected political analysts. Every week and sometimes daily, get new episodes discussing all things political and how it affects Mainers like you. And now, here's Phil and Ethan.
Welcome to episode 13 of the new CENTER Maine Agree to Disagree podcast with Phil and Ethan. Weekly podcast that will be going on from now through Election Day, maybe a week or two after, depending on how long Donald Trump drags this election out.
Oh my God. This is like trying to watch a NASCAR race and see car accidents happening. It's amazing to me how the politics are getting more intense, Ethan, as we approach Election Day, up and down the political spectrum.
You think that watching this podcast is like a train wreck, or you meant watching the debate was a train wreck?
Watching the debate. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. This podcast every week is as smooth as it is, like a NASCAR race. The thing that I love about NASCAR? They only turn left, baby. Whole time around the track.
Oh yeah, I love it. I'm going to use that one.
Good. How's your week? I think I saw some pictures of you were fishing up on some lake or something.
Oh, last Saturday, the most spectacular day of the year. It was like vibrant, beautiful fall colors on the Penobscot River. I was on the West Branch. It was about 75 degrees. It was heaven on earth. How about you? Did you walk on any concrete?
I did walk on some concrete. I actually was in Penobscot. You probably know Penobscot. It's right near Blue Hill.
Yes. Wow.
My father actually bought a little place on White Pond.
Nice.
Which is very nice. You'd like it. It's very remote, just kind of your style. I was out there for a few days, heard more gunshots in 3 days than I heard growing up in New York City for 20 years. So,
did you see any Trump signs while you were there?
Oh, I did see a few, buddy. I did see a few, no doubt about it. So, did you catch any fish, by the way?
I did. Yeah, I will. I should have brought a picture with me to show you. Yeah, we caught some nice salmon and some brook trout. It was great.
You cook that stuff up, or you throw?
No. I put them back. Oh no. Mother Nature gets them back so that they grow bigger, and some other person who comes to fish can enjoy the great outdoors here in Maine.
Nice. Good for you, man. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it was. So you got anything for us to discuss this week?
I do, my friend. I do. A little thing called a first presidential debate. That was a doozy. We'll definitely dive into that. We got a new Supreme Court nominee coming down. We got Dale Crafts running an ad that is getting a little bit of pushback for how factual it is. Susan Collins and Sarah Gideon had another debate. Pretty interesting there. We got all kinds of different topics. It's going to be just a jam-packed show.
Plus, we play a little Love It, Hate It, or Wake Me When It's Over. And Schoolsy, our producer, tells us how I did on the hot seat for last week's Nailed It or Failed It.
I gave you all softballs, buddy. All softballs.
No. What is becoming clearer is that I have a better pulse on the politics than you do.
Yeah, we'll see. We still got a month to go. So, all right. Should we dive in and get this show rolling?
Yeah. Let's start with the elephant in the room. Nope.
As Speaker of the House, I solemnly and sadly open the debate.
All right, buddy. First presidential debate, otherwise known as the elephant in the room. How do you think they did, Phil? Give them some grades. You think the needle moved at all? What do you think happened there?
I don't think the needle moved at all. Most everybody, I guess I should say, who tuned in to watch the debate waited for the accidents to happen, so to speak, which frankly didn't happen because it turned out to be essentially a mud wrestling match. Neither one of them comported themselves presidentially. I thought it was very disappointing that they wouldn't abide by the rules. They devolved into calling each other names. The moderator couldn't control the flow of the evening. It was very disappointing.
A little surprised you keep saying they didn't follow the rules. Certainly, Biden got pulled in, but Donald Trump, right from the beginning, just as hot as could be. Even Chris Christie on TV afterwards saying, yeah, that guy was way too hot. All the reviews today just dumping on Trump in terms of his behavior at the debate. We're not even talking about issues because he was simply so awful, coming across just bullying and spewing lies throughout the whole thing. I think I'm glad to hear that the debate commission is now looking at changing some of the rules to be able to make sure that they can crack down on this. There was nothing about what happened last night. And, I don't know that Joe Biden's performance was stellar by any means, but when somebody's bullying you like that, spewing lies over and over, you try to answer one and they throw four more. What do you expect for somebody to perform? So there's no they in who was violating the rules last night, at least in terms of who set that standard.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you that Trump was the one who initiated the, how shall I say, let me look up in the sky here, and the insults to the American people who tuned in to listen to two people who want to be the president of the United States, and instead they got someone who constantly interrupted them, changed the tone of the response, and that's where Biden, I think, made his biggest mistake of the evening, is he just got down into that cave, so to speak, and called the president a clown and to stop yapping, and it was just awful. I tried, as you and I did last week, to give them some advice that they didn't take, and in Trump's place, I think he should have let Biden carry on in his answers so that you could see whether he was as competent or not as we are curious to see, and instead cut him off and change the direction. Never gave Biden a chance to reveal himself, so to speak.
Yeah, and when you look back on the debate, you can't name a single thing that Trump said about what he's going to do to help the American people. It was all these attacks. It's clearly somebody who was falling behind in the polls, knows he's losing by seven points nationally, losing in all the battleground states, just desperation. I think, just like you said, not a single voter moved towards Donald Trump. I don't know that a bunch moved toward Biden either, but they didn't need to. And anybody who was kind of undecided, deciding whether or not they wanted to vote for Trump, I think they're just going to stay home after watching that debate.
Yeah, I think the undecideds decided to turn the television off. Okay. It turns out, allegedly, that Donald Trump paid $750 in federal taxes his first year as president, and $750 the prior year, and he paid no federal income taxes for 10 of the last 15 years, allegedly. Strim, do you think these revelations will move the needle against the incumbent?
I don't think they'll move the needle against the incumbent. I think that these are much worse than simply allegations. Clearly, this report was pretty extensive. A lot of fact checkers looking at it. It's very disappointing that the president of the United States is doing everything he can to manipulate the tax code to not pay his fair share compared to what the American people pay. He pays less than what teachers pay. Somebody figured out he paid less federal income tax than Abraham Lincoln. Certainly, you can blame the tax code for part of that, but what also seems clear is there is a very suspicious rebate that he got from the IRS a few years back, $70 million. That's why this audit has been going on. It looks like he may have to pay back upwards of $100 million. The other big revelation, of course, doesn't even look like he's got that much cash left.
So let's back the truck up, if you will. First of all, this tax information was improperly revealed. Someone let this information loose, and that's against the rules and the laws, and you have the right to privacy. But more importantly, if the taxes that he paid are the reasons we're talking about this, we ought to also take into consideration the property taxes and the payroll taxes and the excise taxes and so forth. But putting even that aside, Ethan, I think it's remarkable that we're criticizing the president for how little he paid in taxes when the very politicians in Washington who think we should pay more wrote the tax codes that let this outcome become reality. So I would turn it around and put it back on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They were in the Senate. They set tax policy along with the House of Representatives. And if this tax result was allowed, it wasn't because Donald Trump broke the law. It's because Congress wrote the rules this way.
Well, that may be the case. Interesting that you leave Mitch McConnell out of that list of people, because he certainly jammed through the latest Trump tax cuts. Not that the latest Trump tax cuts have to do with his current, but of course the tax code is outrageous. But the big piece here is Trump lies. He continues to say that he pays millions of dollars in income taxes. He won't release his return so that we can know that. Joe Biden has released his. Every president before him in the last 50 years has released their income taxes. Donald Trump has not, and somehow or another we forgive him for that. And he claims he's given millions, he's paid millions, when it seems very clear that he hasn't. Of course, the other taxes are there. This is an issue of what's he paying in federal income taxes. He now, it is clear, seems to pay, unless he can prove it, less than a firefighter, less than a teacher, less than a minimum wage worker working on the Portland waterfront. That is disgraceful.
So, gavel hurt me there. Okay.
All right, buddy. Dale Crafts come out swinging with his latest campaign ad. It leaps off the turbulence in some cities in response to the recent deaths of Black Americans at the hands of police. News Center's Hannah Deneen determined the ad was quote unquote false in claiming that Jared Golden supports defunding the police. Phil, what do you make of the ad, and should it now be pulled?
Yeah, there's a little bit of ambiguity, so to speak, in backing up that claim in the Crafts ad. But I do think it leverages off of the House Democrats and many Senate Democrats who are out in the forefront, along with many mayors around the country, that the police should be defunded. And I think you're going to find that most Americans agree that they do want law and order in the streets, that they do respect and look up to the men and women who put on the blue uniform. And this is going to be an issue that I believe is going to move the needle in many of the locations around the country.
Do you think the ad should be pulled, or you think the ad's okay? Sorry, I wasn't.
I think if the ads factually can be proven to be incorrect, then they should be pulled for sure.
I mean, look, from my perspective, and I think from News Center's perspective and Hannah Deneen's report, it was very clear that it is false. I mean, they're claiming that Congressman Jared Golden wants to defund the police, when he's made very clear that he doesn't want to defund police. In fact, has co-sponsored the bill that would defund cities that tried to defund police. So it'd be the same as running an ad against you, Phil, saying you want to defund the police because you hang out with me, a guy who actually does support that policy. So no doubt about it. I mean, they've put tens of thousands of dollars behind this ad. It is a flat out lie. It should be taken off the air immediately, as far as I'm concerned. This is not what should be happening in Maine politics.
Based on everything you've said, I concur, and I would suspect that if a News Center decided from an editorial management point of view that was false, they could refuse to air the commercial. Yeah,
I don't know what the policy is around that, but I hope that Dale Crafts will step up. He's got some good things to talk about for sure, and he should talk about them. Lying about Jared Golden is not one of them, and I'm very disappointed in what he did. All right, my friend, here we go. Your favorite segment of the day. Love it, hate it. Wake me up when it's over. We got some doozies this week. Oh, yeah. Are you ready to roll?
Yeah, I think the audience is going to find these rather entertaining, shall I say.
Good. All right. Hope you saw the second U.S. Senate debate. In it, Senator Susan Collins criticized Speaker Gideon for not doing more to help Mainers on COVID as Speaker of the House, even though the federal government, of course, has done nothing since March. Phil, you loving this, you hating this, or wake me up when it's over?
I am loving this, because I do believe that the governor and the Speaker of the House, currently Sarah Gideon, and the President of the Senate have the power in the Constitution to require the legislature to come back into session. They should have done that months ago. Our budget continues to drift further and further out of balance, which means to get it back in balance. And thankfully, our Constitution requires that the budget be balanced. is going to create a lot more pain than it should have. I'm loving it. I think the legislature should be coming back in session, and they should use the authority that they have in the Constitution to make it happen. So, Strim, I throw the same back at you. In the aforementioned debate, Speaker Gideon criticized Senator Collins for not doing enough on COVID relief when she herself has done nothing since March. Strim, you loving this, hating this, or shall I wake you up when it's over?
Look, I mean, for me, wake me up when it's over on both of these. Neither side has done enough. I would agree with that. The federal government, though, really is the leader. I do think it's not a totally legit attack to claim that Susan Collins should be doing more. The problem, of course, for Susan Collins is her greatest claim in her reelection is her seniority and the influence that has to be able to bring home the bacon for Maine. Clearly, she has not been able to do this, so it undermines her argument. I don't think she has the power to be able to get the Senate to do anything. Her seniority is even with her seniority, and her politics are bad, and that's why she's probably going to lose. So this one, wake me up when it's over. All right, my friend, Pelosi and the White House are back in talks on another stimulus package after Democrats lowered their offer from $3.4 trillion to a measly $2.2 trillion. Pelosi, what are you doing? This is like jump change. Phil, you loving this? You hating it? Or wake me up when it's over?
I'm hating this. They are still way too far apart, and they're spending way too much money. I think the economy is for the most part around the country, particularly where states are mostly open. You see that the unemployment rate is around 7%. When you look at where the highest concentration of unemployment, which is in New York and California, if you took those out of the mix, we'd be at about 7%. And I think that's a level that if we open up and let the economy do what it does in its natural forces, the economy will bounce back. And to have this be hinging upon borrowing more money at the federal level to go bail out states that financially have not run their states well, I don't think that's the direction to go in. If they want to whittle it down to say a trillion and really target the relief to where we have the most pain, that's where I would be. But based on this proposal, I'm hating it. There's a new effort to buy out Central Maine Power and create a consumer-owned public utility for producing and distributing electricity. Strim, you loving this, hating this, or you want me to give you a wake-up call when it's over?
Oh, baby, I am loving this one. My heart's all over it. This is just right up my alley. Trying to create, getting the profits from CMP into consumers' hands. Such a better idea. You reduce costs for Mainers across the state. You can be more efficient in terms of environmental conditions, and you can be more efficient in terms of how you produce electricity. So I think this is a great idea. I hope they move forward. I hope they get this on the ballot or through the legislature. I think there's a lot of support. Nobody likes CMP, and they especially don't like their rates. So this is a way to clean up our environment, reduce rates. I'm all in. Phil, Trump has nominated Amy Coney Barrett to be his replacement for Ruth Bader Ginsburg. What say you? You loving this nominee? You hating this nominee? Or wake me up when it's over?
I've got a love-hate relationship with this one, Ethan. I love the candidate in terms of her qualifications and her integrity, her intelligence. She is heralded as one of the best law students at Notre Dame. She's got a track record that is to be proud of. I'm kind of hating it, though, because it seems as though the Senate Republicans want to push this nomination through before the election, and I think that just feeds into the political discourse. And if President Trump is going to be reelected anyway, it's a moot point. The University of Maine is removing the name of Clarence Cook Little from one of its buildings because his advocacy for eugenics and pledges to rename if a person of color or woman. What is this? Strim, you loving this, hating this, or wake me up when it's over?
Oh, I'm loving this for sure. I took lots of classes at Little Hall, actually. Education department was there when I was there. And look, it's clear now as we look back in history, there are some folks who we named buildings after, we named mountains after, rivers that should not have occurred. Eugenics at the time, big advocate for kind of the superiority of races and sterilization of people. And I think taking his name off this building is absolutely appropriate. They're talking about naming it after a Wabanaki person of color and or a woman. I think that is a great idea. So I am loving this. All right, here we go. Let's see how you did last week on Nailed It or Failed It. Your record in 1 week is 4 wins, so we'll see if you can beat that. All right, Schoolsy, are you ready to score them?
Let's do it.
All right. First question. Agree or disagree, Phil? A third Republican senator will say the Senate should not consider RBG's replacement until after the election. Phil said disagree. Schoolsy, how'd he do?
Nailed it.
I couldn't find one more senator to come out, could you, buddy?
I told you.
You know what? We could have said you were a senator, just
Yeah.
a different branch of Senate, and you came out. So maybe that should be failed it.
Oh, here you are reinventing the vote again.
All right, number 2, agree or disagree. Trump will call Biden Sleepy Joe, hiding Biden, or crazy Uncle Joe during the first presidential debate. Phil said disagree. Schoolsy, how'd he do?
Nailed it.
Not only did I nail it, Trump called him every name in the book but Sleepy Joe, hiding Biden, or crazy Uncle Joe.
No, man, you lucked out on that one for sure. I think actually in the end, Joe might have called Trump more, and they called him a clown. I'm not sure that Trump went the other way. So, all right, number 3, agree or disagree. Donald Trump will name a woman to replace RBG who is younger than 50. Remember, there were 2 being out there saying that were over 50 and 2 that were younger 50. Phil said agree, going with under 50. Schoolsy, how'd he do?
Nailed it.
Speaks for itself. I don't know what else you could say.
47. My God, the Republican nominees are going to be there for you, and I are going to be long dead before these people are off. All right, agree or disagree. The Kennebec County Superior Court will rule that ballots received after Election Day but postmarked in time should be counted. Phil said agree. Schoolsy, how'd he do? Well, you haven't gotten any wrong yet. That's pretty good. I think you're going to be right on this one, too. It just hasn't happened in time. The guy said he was going to do it, but we'll see. So maybe it'll come out before the show airs, and we'll be able to do it up. All right, number 5, agree or disagree. The number of absentee ballot requests will exceed 300,000 by next week. Phil said disagree. Schoolsy, how'd he do?
Nailed it.
I think this is one of those times, Ethan, where everybody who's so PO'd at whatever candidate has decided to vote early, and I think we've kind of reached that equilibrium.
261,000 ballots. It's still way above what we've ever done before. We'll see if it. Some people predicted 400,000.
Wow.
You think it's going to get that high?
No.
Yeah, I think you're probably right on that. Man, you haven't gotten one wrong yet. 4 right, 1 push. We got one more. Agree or disagree, the Boston Red Sox will end the regular season with the worst record in the American League. Phil, throwing his boys under the bus, said agree. Schoolsy, how'd he do?
Failed it.
Not by much, though. Not by much.
Not by much. Texas Rangers, I think. They were the only ones worse than the Red Sox in the American League. All right, buddy. You got 4 right, 1 wrong. The ones you got right were all the political ones. The one you got wrong was the sports ones, and pushed another. That puts you at 15 correct on the year. You've almost doubled me up. I'm at 8, but I feel a big week coming on this week. So here we go.
All right. Strim.
Yeah.
It's your turn back in the hot seat.
Yeah.
You have 5 right so far to my 11. So if you run the
eight, sorry, that was a typo there. I got 8 and you've got 15 because we got to add in the ones you just got right this week. So
you got to run the table here. Are you ready?
I'm ready to run the table.
All right.
You know,
Here we are.
I've done that once or twice in pool too, so I can get there.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
you must be good.
Yeah.
All you have to do is agree or disagree with a brief explanation as to why. Here we go. Number one, agree or disagree with the first debate behind us. Donald Trump will narrow the national polling gap with Biden by 0.5 point or more.
Not a chance. Disagree. It's probably going to go in the other direction after that debate.
Number two, agree or disagree. Sarah Gideon will widen the front runner gap with Susan Collins when they report the next amount of, fundraising gap with Susan Collins when they report the amount raised.
Yes, I agree. I think she will widen the gap. It's 7-8 million right now. So I think she will widen it in the next report.
Agree or disagree, by next week, Nancy Pelosi and the White House will negotiate and agree on a new stimulus package.
You know, this one gets me every time. I've never gotten this one right, but I'm going with yes again. I think it's going to happen. Democrats have come in with a new proposal. Nancy said they're not going home till they get it done. I think they're getting it done. I'm going to agree.
Wow.
Yeah.
Agree or disagree, a nonpartisan poll will be released in the next week showing Collins actually tied or ahead of Gideon.
I disagree. I don't think she's going to get, I don't think she's going to be, and it's actually tied, not margin of error, right? We're not talking about like she could be.
Right.
So it's got to be 45-45 or better. I'm going to say I disagree.
Agree or disagree, the number of absentee ballot requests will exceed 300,000 by next week.
We're at 261 right now. I'm going to say disagree. I think you're right. I think the momentum has slowed. So I'm going to say disagree.
Okay, and finally, a non-athletic trivia question. Agree or disagree, there will be a new newsworthy drop-off of people tuning into the next presidential debate on October 7th.
Oh, absolutely. Well, the next presidential debate is the vice presidential debate. I do think there's excitement for that because it'll be a little, first time seeing Kamala Harris, but I think it's going to drop off. Won't be close to what it was last time. The bigger question is it going to go up or down October 15th when they have the big debate when Trump and Biden go back at it for WWE 2.
The clock has run out. The buzzer is sounding.
Okay, Ethan, as we do each week in honor of Maine's bicentennial year, we answer and ask a Maine political trivia question. Here's last week's question. What made Governor Haskell our most unique governor in Maine history?
When you first asked it, I was like, well, maybe it's like because the only Haskell, but there actually turned out to be two Haskells. So which Haskell were you referring to when you said that?
I was referring to the Governor Haskell of Pittsfield, Maine, which is above Waterville and below Bangor.
Mm-hmm.
Governor Haskell was the president of the Senate, and under our Constitution, the Senate president becomes governor should there become a vacancy. And Haskell actually served for 25 hours when Governor Payne stepped down to become prepared to become our next U.S. senator, and before newly elected Burton Cross was sworn in.
That's interesting. And when I looked at this a little bit, I thought, was that the shortest term? I don't think it actually is. There was a guy named Rose, but the difference is Rose actually then became governor, had run. So I think Haskell does have the record for least amount of time served as governor in the state of Maine. So nice question. Good one.
Thank you.
Very nice. All right. We got another question this week. Phil, you ready?
Lay it on me.
What party was in the majority when the income tax was first enacted in Maine, and by what margin did the people of Maine reject the people's veto that tried to repeal it?
Oh, very good question.
This is a good one. People know the era that this occurred, who the governor was, etc. I'm sure you lived through all of it. I'll be curious to hear whether, let's see, you would have voted. You might not have been old enough to, hard to imagine.
No, I was like 10 years old.
All right. How you would have voted then had you been eligible to vote. How your parents voted. That'll be an interesting question if they were there, and what the margin was. So I always love this question because it's always not what people expect.
Okay, that's a wrap, folks. Okay, Donald, how do we do?
And you're fake news. You are fake news.
Should have pulled those right out of the debate.
Yeah.
Could have gotten even better stuff, huh?
Right. Hey, good to see you, my friend.
Likewise, buddy. Have a great one.
I'll see you next week.
All righty.